told through the stories of today's leaders in finance, tech, real estate, culture, and sustainability. This is Planet Go, with your host, Enzo Di Taranto.
Would you like, please, to share with us your experience related with the climate change projects?
The matchmaking between investment and entrepreneurship, which is actually the major challenge that entrepreneurs face nowadays.
How do you compare the stay with United Nations as an investor in climate change projects?
Most of the projects, programs, and operations of the United Nations implement certain practices in support of either governments or populations, but not with a business model that generates profits.
What type of message you want to convey to the global leaders to get benefits from your Planet Gold venture?
My work is aimed at re-engineering, at reinventing the global climate agenda, because definitely the traditional narrative and the traditional paradigm is not working.
How the developing countries can attract climate finance without compromising their sovereignty or sustainability?
You know, there are some movements, but we are still at very beginning of this transition from traditional finance to impact finance. So it has started, but still it takes time.
Dear Global CEO Club audience, this is Sher Afzal, the founder and chairman of Global CEO Club Private Limited. It's a platform for the business as well as for the government to boost businesses to get investments by utilizing the services of Global CEO Club across the globe. Global CEO Club has multiple segments through which the business can be expanded, and I would share with you the audience in detail during the session. Now I invited one of the big, renowned, prominent personality from Italy, big investor for climate change projects, Mr. Enzo Di Taranto Capozzi. And now I request him to introduce himself to the audience of Global CEO Club.
Wonderful. First of all, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me on this platform. Actually, I've been a diplomat and senior United Nations officials for more than 30 years, but since 2014, I operate in the private sector, particularly in the area of climate tech and climate finance. And so my background at the United Nations was mainly to manage multi-billion programs and campaigns related to the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. Globally, I was the campaign manager of the United Nations Secretary General in New York, and also head of the United Nations office in many countries worldwide. So I brought this experience in dealing with governments, with the civil society, and with the private sector into the entrepreneurial realm, because there is normally a separation between the public and the private sector, right? So I've been working at the intersection between public, private, and planet. That is the focus of my businesses.
Oh, thank you so much for your detailed introduction to the public of the world. Our today's session is purely for climate sustainability, impact investing, and global leadership. You have been part of United Nation as diplomat, and what were the factors behind this to switch from United Nations towards climate change projects?
Well, operating in the United Nations at the highest level has been a privilege and has been a phenomenal platform to learn about how a global corporation operates at both headquarters, regional levels, national levels, and also local community municipal levels, which is where actually the life of people is affected by the systemic changes in the planetary equilibrium. So, you know, when you travel in countries like Mali or Somalia or Laos or Indonesia, and you go into, you know, the communities in the rural areas, or even in urban communities, you experience that this issue of climate is not theoretical, is not technical, is not technological, but actually it's a deterioration of the same environment that gives us life. And you can see that the most marginalized populations suffer greatly from this deterioration, from this degradation of the environment, either by not having access to clean water or breathing poisoned air, or having only access to expensive plastic bottles of water. So there is a definitive degradation of human conditions due to the deterioration of the environment. And that has this is something that I could experience through traveling the world, and the United Nations gave me that opportunity. This is on one hand. On the other hand, being a global, huge corporation, obviously there are several bottlenecks in terms of operational flexibility, and the fluidity of the actions that the different United Nations agencies, programs, and funds can actually implement at the local level. So I learned that operating from the private sector allows speed, allows a easier channeling of financial resources, and also allows more innovation and more creativity in addressing these human challenges. So that is definitely a space where I find myself more at ease.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are doing excellent job for the humanity. And I am very grateful again that you joined this today's session. Uh, you are the investor, and Global CEO Club is a big bridge between the project owners and the investors. Global CEO Club can create alliance between or among these or all these parties, whether it's of government nature, whether the project is related with the private sector. So I'm again very grateful to you. Would you like, please, to share with us your experience related with the climate change projects?
Well, that would require much more time than this conversation. But you mentioned about the matchmaking between investment and entrepreneurship, which is actually the major challenge that entrepreneurs face nowadays. So I see that there are many capable CEOs of small and medium enterprises that operate in the circular economy, in the green and blue economies, but don't have access to capital. And this is even more difficult for startups that start from zero with very small in capitals and find difficult to grow. Even though in some cases I noticed that there are enterprises that have built phenomenal technologies like to extract water from the mist, from air, to remove plastic from oceans, or to use clean energy instead of fossil-based energies. So the diversity of technologies and the existence of a vibrant entrepreneurship industry related to green and blue is amazing. And technology allows us today to as I say, to clean the water, to clean the air, to irrigate deserts, or to vertical farming. I mean, technology allows us really to do amazing things today, but the capital is concentrated in few places, and these blocks of capital are not necessarily directed towards funding sustainability. You see, so the challenge is to persuade investors, traditional investors, to venture into the impact investing industry, and to demonstrate that they can still make profit with clean technologies. You see, so far, profit was related more to extracting and using the planet as a resource, and so in a way destroying it, towards a business model that is more than extractive, is regenerative. You see, so instead of using fossil energy, we can use clean energy and ensure the same profit to investors. You see, instead of selling plastic bottles, we can package water, clean water, in a way that is not destructive for the environment. You see, and technology nowadays, for the first time in the history of humanity, allows to generate profit without necessarily destroying the environment. And this is the paradigm shift that we need to instill into the financial sector.
Oh, thank you. I must appreciate you are doing a great job, and I hope you should move on aggressively for these projects, and keep on growing always. So we continue our discussion. How do you compare the stay with United Nations as and as an investor in climate change projects? How do you compare?
Well, actually, United Nations is is not an investor itself, because remember that the Organization of United Nations depends on funding provided by the member states, which are the governments. And most of the projects, programs, and operations of the United Nations implement certain practices in support of either governments or populations, but not with a business model that generates profits. You see, it's more an expenditure business model more than a profit generation model. You see, so the United Nations cannot be considered as an investor, and governments and other donors don't use it as an investing platform. So the whole UN business model should be re-engineered to be more adaptable to the impact investing requirements and practices. But in this, the UN has failed, in my view, to engage significantly the private sector as you rightly mentioned, as an investor partner, not as a donor necessarily. You see. So there are, for instance, efforts made by the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Office that is based in Geneva to engage the private sector in disaster risk reduction, but the results are not very promising because the private sector doesn't see a profit generating engagement. You see, so this model of donating money or donating time or donating resources doesn't work, because the main objective of any private enterprise is to generate profit. You see what I mean? So you can persuade a private company to generate a little bit less profit in exchange of having more purpose, of having more impact, but still you have to ensure that there is a capital creation. Otherwise, any enterprise would fail in the market. You see? So this business mentality is missing. I hope that it will, prosper in the next years and decades. But at this stage, there is no. Actually, speaking about sustainability, the financial model of the United Nations is not sustainable. You see, itself. So, by contrast, it should give the example to promote environmental sustainability with a sustainable, a financial sustainable model. You see, but this is not the case. I'm working hard to innovate this mindset, but it's difficult to transmute it into real operational activities, because again, as we said, the bureaucracy, the slow pace of UN operations, and so on. So it's a process. It will take more time, I suspect.
Oh, thank you. In fact, you are doing a consistent and very hardworking job. Keep it up. The audience of Global CEO Club is much more interested to know about Planet Gold. One thing. The second, what were the inspirational factors behind this to start this venture?
Yeah, thank you. So basically, I created these two concepts. One is called Planet Gold, and the other one is called planetology. let me explain what I mean by that. So planet gold is exactly what I mentioned earlier, that the planet is the new gold. What that means, that companies, enterprises, investors can make money by using practices and technologies that regenerate planetary resources instead of destroying them. You see? I give you a concrete example. For instance, the mining sector. So the mining sector has been by nature a destructive practice, because you have to drill a mountain or a river or whatever a landscape to extract minerals, right? But nowadays we have technologies that allow to do the same, meaning extracting gold or any other mineral without necessarily destroying the land, you see, or the river or the forest or whatever it is. So obviously, there is a transition towards, from extracting to regenerating. There is a transition period that we have to accelerate as much as we can. But once again, technology allows us nowadays to do that. So when I mention the mantra, for me, it's really a concept. It's planet is gold, means that, first of all, customers and the markets are asking more and more sustainable, organic, and bio products. You see, if you take the agriculture industry, you see that in most countries worldwide, consumers are more attentive to eat more natural, more organic, or biologic, or bio products in the farming, even in the food industry than 10 years ago. So even if you go in the McDonald's today, you see that they have bio salads, or they have hormone-free chickens and so on. So there is much more attention from the food industry towards having more natural products than before. But this is triggered by consumer choices. So we have more informed and smarter consumers than before. In the fashion industry, which is one of the most polluting industry on the planet, you have the same process. Nowadays, people are more attentive to dressing brands that are more conscious. We talk about sustainable fashion or conscious fashion. So using textiles with less chemicals, or using less water to create fashion productions and so on. In the real estate industry, is the same thing. Nowadays, in most countries, in Europe, even in the United States, there are stricter environmental regulations for new real estate developments. Even in the Gulf region, you see that there are more and more requirements towards a more efficient light management, water management, waste management in the construction and administration of the real estate. So to make the long story short, if you analyze the biggest and most polluting industries worldwide, including automotive, you see that there is a transition from fossil and environmentally destructive business model towards sustainable, more sustainable practices, which means that nowadays to make money, you need to be more attentive to the environment, so this transition from, traditional cars to hybrid or electric cars, from, toxic food towards more, natural foods, from plastic water to, higher quality water, even, the management of the air in the cities has improved significantly. And all this generate a new economy, that what I call the smart economy, which is a multi-trillion economy, Now, unfortunately, with the Trump administration, there is a little bit of, backward trend towards, fossil, but still the markets, this is a process that is irreversible, because consumers are smarter, entrepreneurs are smarter, technologies are smarter, and everything goes towards being cleaner. So this is what I mean by planet gold. It's a new luxury industry. Now, on the other hand, and this is also connected, the concept of planetology is synthesized by a mantra, which is the planet through the body. What that means, that when we speak about sustainability, we speak about the environment, we are not talking about something external to our own bodies, So we, as human beings, we are made of the same stuff the planet is made, which is water, air, soil, and fire. If we take any of these elements out from our body, we just die as organisms. We just die. And the same thing is happening with the planet. If we deteriorate, water, like, now there is a plastification of oceans. If you go into any ocean, you see that fishes and algae and all these organisms are all contaminated by plastics or other chemicals, So the point of planetology is to return to the origin and raise awareness of human beings that this planetary degeneration is not something external to us, but it's happening inside us at the cellular level. You see, like if I die now and you dissect my body, you will find hundreds of grams of plastics or any other, heavy metal inside me. Nobody speaks about that because it's a little bit, not politically correct, but this is the truth. So we have to regenerate the consciousness of humans about the fact that we are destroying the same source of life, the same environment that gives us life, through water, air, soil, and fire. And so I feel that there is a rise in consciousness of most people about these new issues. I mean, we couldn't have this conversation maybe 10 years ago. Now it's quite trendy to speak about these things. So I'm very positive, very optimistic, and by putting on the table this concept of planet gold and planetology, I'm trying to simplify the narrative about sustainability and communicate that sustainability is the new luxury, the planet is the new gold, and that this degeneration of the environment is not something external to us, but it's something that is happening inside ourselves, and our own survival as human species is at risk and we need to, change our mindset in order to gradually return where we came from. And now all this is easier because of technology. Technology allows us to regenerate much faster and much better than before. So yeah, it's very interesting. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful, wonderful. Please continue your journey with more aggressiveness. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, that Global CEO Club has multiple segments to boost businesses. One of them is Global CEO Club has very big international business and government network, and very, very, very big. And it's very helpful, very meaningful to reduce the gap among the business communities all over the world. Global CEO Club has many investors network also, okay, like you. And with the passage of time, Global CEO Club would be introducing the investors to the business community also. Uh, Moreover, Global CEO Club has marketplace like Alibaba, like Amazon, but it's for the large transactions, large scale of transactions, and because this is for B2B, B2G, and G2G transactions. Okay, so I told you that Global CEO Club has multiple segments, business segments, to boost, to support the businesses. Okay, so we continue our discussion. What type of message you want to convey to the global leaders to get benefits from your Planet Gold venture regarding climate investments like that?
Yeah, thank you for that. As I said, my work is aimed at re-engineering, at reinventing the global climate agenda, because definitely the traditional narrative and the traditional paradigm is not working. We are living new times, a new geopolitics, and most importantly, we are living in the era of AI with an acceleration of technological advancement. So for the first time in the history of humanity, the traditional relation human planet that has already always been existed, as human beings, we have only interacted with water, with mountains, with agriculture, with other human beings, with animals, the flora, the fauna. So that has been for millions of years our traditional relationship between humans and the environment. Now, for the first time in the history of humanity, this binary relation, humans, planet, as a third actor, which is technology. So now we are becoming cyber humans in many ways. Actually, we already are all cyber humans. And so this new relation between humans and technology is disrupting the traditional relations between humans and the environment. You see? So that is a little bit the confusion that as human species we have been experiencing during the last 100 years since the first industrial revolution. So in this context, we have first to understand these dynamics, because otherwise there is confusion about what role plays technology, what role plays governments, what role plays consumers and so on. So we have to understand that we live in this new tripartite, if I can say that in English, relation: humans, planet, technology. That's very important to understand. Now, in this context, who are the key actors? Those who take decisions and can change or improve and build a new era, a new society in which humans, machines, and the planet coexist harmoniously and peacefully and can mutually grow instead of destroying themselves, which is something happening today because of this confusion. So we are moving towards what I call the fifth revolution, which is, as I said, a new era where humans, machines, and the planet coexist in a peaceful and mutually growing fashion. Now, we have control of technology. Technology doesn't exist without our invention, right? So we create technology. We can also control technology. So the centerpiece of this relation is humans. So we have control on what we as human species can do. Now, who are the key actors of the human species? You mentioned a few. Governments play a key role because they shape policies, they allocate budgets, and so on. Then we have investors, because investors decide where the money goes. And it's never a matter of not having capital. The global GDP grows every year. So every year there is more money in the economy. The problem is that where that money is concentrated and what investors are financing with existing money. And the third, and I would say the most important category of human species are consumers. Why consumers? Because consumers decide the production lines and decide, therefore, where investment goes. Okay? So what I say to governments is, first of all, to prioritize the environment as the core of any public policy. Why? Because you can generate jobs, you can provide social services, you can improve the economy, but if you leave your constituencies, you leave your voters, your populations in an environment where the water is dirty, the air is toxic, diseases are spread, it's not what any government should do. Any government should take care of the public health of their population first and mostly. And there is no way that a human being can be healthy living in a toxic environment. You see? So what I say to government is you need to put sustainability at the core of any public policy. Industrial policies, economic policies, monetary policies, health policies, technological policies, anything, and foster innovation in that sector. So this is what I say to governments. What I say to investors is to channel funding towards sustainability. Why? Because you can still make money. The new green and blue economies are multi-trillion economies everywhere in the world. You can make money by producing better food, by creating better real estate, by developing clean energy, clean technologies. So investors can still make money but also adding purpose to their investment. Because, it's not a very noble objective for any human being to just make money for the sake of making money. We need to make money and also having an impact on humanity and the planet. So what I say to investors, become impact investors, not just traditional investors. And we can help them to do so. And last but not least, the third key category of human beings are the consumers, as I said earlier. So what I said to consumers, reward those brands that are conscious. So buy less but better food, buy less but better clothes, try to move in a more sustainable way using more electric and public transportation instead of polluting, change their mindset by spending better, by consuming less, and elevate their lifestyle by being more in harmony with nature. So these are my three key messages to those who can really change the needle of the global climate agenda to the next level.
Oh, thank you. Wonderful. I'm too much excited to learn more about this climate change version which you are carrying out. So we continue our discussion. Which regions or projects do you think or believe are most attractive for the climate resilience?
Yeah. First of all, before that, I want to clarify that I never use the term of climate change as you have been doing. And this is not a criticism. It's just that first of all, it's a very polarizing term. So there are people in favor or against it, which it doesn't make any sense. But also the climate changes continuously. I mean, it's cyclic. So the climate always changes. The problem is not if the climate changes or not. The problem is that if the air that we breathe is polluted or not, if the oceans are full of plastic or not, if desertification is advancing or not, if natural disasters are more frequent and more intense, you see? So the climate changes by itself. Now, obviously, there is now scientific evidence and consensus about the fact that human activity, is accelerating this change. But I always talk about sustainability as a new economy because we have to elevate the concept, change the narrative, and make money with sustainability. That is the only thing that can bring more people on board. You see. But having said that, to answer your question about resilience, the intensification in terms of frequency and intensity of natural disasters is something that is, evident. Nobody can argue about it. In fact, if you see even President Trump, that in his narrative, is opposing, some of these sustainability issues or dynamics, he was forced to travel domestically to California because of wildfires and to other states because of ever seen before flooding. I think it was New Orleans, and Texas and others. So the point is that nobody can argue that that the natural disasters are increasing in both frequency and intensity. If you see the last hurricanes in the Caribbean, you see the last flooding in Asia, the wildfires in Europe. It's crazy. I mean, we can, as humanity, we are really putting our own survival at risk because of how the planet is speaking to us. This is a language. The planet is simply saying that the energy balance is broken, and so wind is stronger and fires are wilder. You see, it's just a way to tell us that we have to change our behaviors. And so answering your question on what are the most interesting advancements in the resilience area, I always go back to technology, because once again, technology nowadays, especially with AI, allows us as humans to better predict and minimize or mitigate the damages of natural disasters. So I give you a few examples, which are also the area in which I and my community invest, which are basically what I call extreme technologies. So what are extreme technologies? Are those technologies that allow to predict, mitigate, and respond to extreme weather events. So we're talking about hurricanes, flooding, bushfires, typhoons, and so on. So nowadays, with AI, with sensors, and with drones, we can build technological packages that can, as I said earlier, better predict and better prevent, and finally better respond to these extreme weather events. Now, if you see all critical infrastructure worldwide, I'm talking about airports, ports, military bases, main bridges. All this critical infrastructure is at risk because of this extreme weather events. So there is a need to upgrade the technological infrastructure that protects these, strategic sites. I don't know if you have followed, like in Dubai a few years ago, there was a major rain, if I can call it like that, and the Dubai airport had to be closed, which is a enormous economic and economic damage, and also damage from a reputation perspective, because if you close a major airport, it becomes a mess, and there is a huge discomfort for the consumers and for the economy. Actually, if you see this week in Europe, I saw that the airports of Paris and Amsterdam were closed because of heavy snow, which should be like that. We have the technology that allows us to better manage these extreme weather events. So this is a totally new economy. It's for the first time in the history of humanity that as a species we are facing these extreme weather events. And once again, we have today the technology that allows us at least to mitigate the damages. And by working systemically, as I said earlier, with governments, investors, and consumers to regenerate the planet as an ecosystem, we can, let's say, tackle in the short term better the response to natural disasters, and also reduce their intensity and frequency in a more systemic fashion in the next years.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So we continue our discussion and move forward. How the developing countries can attract climate finance without compromising their sovereignty or sustainability.
Okay, repeat the question, please.
I just asked the question that how the developing countries can attract climate finance from the world without compromising their sovereignty or sustainability.
Well, thank you. This is a very interesting question. So, in the climate finance space, there are some movements, but we are still at the very beginning of this transition from traditional finance to impact finance. So it has started, but still it takes time. I give you a few examples. So first of all, at COP26, if I recall correctly, the major financial institutions, I mean, I'm speaking about Bank of America, about Union de Banque Suisse, Deutsche Bank. I mean, the major banks, they committed to finance sustainability. They created a platform called the Net Zero Banking Alliance, okay? And committed, if I remember well, $170 trillion to finance the transition from fossil-based economy to sustainable business models. So with the Trump administration, that alliance, that concept has not been favored for several reasons, but still it is irreversible, because in the end, banks and financial institutions, they put money where the market grows. As we said before, all sustainable production lines are increasing. If you see Tesla, which is just at the apex of the pyramid, but you see any other major industrial sector is moving towards sustainability. So investors just follow markets in the end. I mean, obviously they can shape market trends, but mostly they put the money where the economy grows, right? So even with this backward, which I think it's temporary movement of the Net Zero Banking Alliance, still the majority of investors are looking at sustainability as the next investment frontier. So this can be favored or facilitated by governments and parliaments, of course, through legislation, through regulations. Like if you see the European Union favors greatly impact investing, with the regulations that are conducive to invest more in the circular economy. So this is the foundation of this new climate finance pyramid, and this will take some time to consolidate. But at the same time, and I go back again to technology, we have the blockchain. I mean, a few years ago, the blockchain basically was mainstream, and I think that is the real new frontier for climate finance, because it allows to create impact investing platforms that are decentralized, so they are not subject to government or corporate regulation. They can be multiplied and fragmented at community level. So you can have a municipality in Pakistan, for instance, that creates its own blockchain and token to finance certain climate-oriented projects, like strengthening the bank of a river to avoid flooding, or to remove plastics from certain territories, and so on. So the blockchain is definitely a new technological advancement that can make climate finance more transparent and more decentralized. But again, this will take time, because there are so many interests that are colliding, corporate interests, I mean, are colliding in some way with the blockchain. Not that the global population is still learning about it. So it will take, these are generational dynamics. But definitely, I see the future of climate finance much more on the blockchain than on traditional financing. And just in this area, once again, governments can play a pivotal role, because they can allocate public budgets, which are still, consistent budgets towards financing sustainability. So, which means, for instance, incentivizing entrepreneurship in the green and blue economy, funding technological innovation in universities or in startups, and obviously, putting more money in generating, more sustainable agricultural productions, and better regulating real estate so that it's less polluting, and so on. So again, these three key categories, governments, investors, and consumers, they can all play a critical role. And in my planetology vision, consumers play the most pivotal role, because they can shape market trends, and obviously investors and the banking system follows market growth, and government can facilitate these trends as well.
Oh, thank you. I must appreciate that you are playing a very pivotal role to the community to reduce the life losses. I must appreciate. We want to learn about Circle X, Green Trillion Club. What are these ventures?
Yeah. So Circle X is my private community of investors and inventors, scientists, entrepreneurs. So this is my own community. I call it the Green Trillion Club, because again, it's links to the concept of planet gold, which means that whatever is green today can generate trillions, which is actually the case. So it's a community to sensitize investors and entrepreneurs on venturing more in green and blue economies than in traditional sectors. But what I do mainly with this platform is to produce what I call eco-masterminds, which are conversations among knowledgeable people, and I produce those during the most glamorous media events worldwide. So I produce Circle X, Green Trillion Club, Eco Masterminds during Formula One Grand Prix or Fashion Weeks or Art Weeks, or for instance, next week we will be in Davos. We were in Miami, Florida a month ago. We will be in London during Art Week in March, in New York during Climate Week in September, in Cannes during the film festival in May, and so on. So the idea is to use these global media stages that already exist and to inject the climate agenda there, so to capitalize on the media attention, on the celebrity presence, on the presence of many investors and important people who are in town during those weeks, so that everything amplifies and accelerates. So that's that this concept that I call ecotainment. So I combine ecology with entertainment so that the climate agenda becomes a little bit more attractive. Otherwise, it may seem too technical or too boring to many people, So it's just an escamotage to make it sexier in some way.
Oh, thank you. I want to convey a big message through your platforms to the community that very soon I would announce that Global CEO Club, along with its partners from US, from Europe, are going to organize a big investment and business summit in UAE. And I would do invite you people, you investors, to come and join hands to support the businesses and the governments as well. So I'm again very grateful to you and continue our discussion. How do you see that Global CEO Club, Circle X, Green Trillion Club can be supportive to the government, to the business community?
Well, I think that our main role is to influence, the decision makers, because once again, this sustainability space is very unknown to many. I can see, like green parties and ministries of environment and all these people really don't grasp the essence of the climate challenge, which, as I said, as I articulate in my planetology book, that by the way is available on my company website, which is xzen.tv. So people can go there and download a free summary or purchase the book on Amazon. But as I said, the climate challenge is not industrial, is not economic, is not technological, is not technical, but it is existential. It is determined by a disruption of our bodies from the essential element of nature, which are air, water, soil, and fire. So this disruption makes possible for humans to destroy the same source of life, the same environment that gives us life. And this is all, it's unconscious. I mean, humans are not stupid. We are just doing it unconsciously because nobody is telling us, the truth, which is we are destroying the planet, It's not something external. It's something that we are an ecosystem, if we destroy the oceans, if we pour plastic in the oceans, that plastic comes back into our cells because fishes eat plastic and then we eat the fish and then we get the plastic inside ourselves, you see? But sustainability is portrayed as something, external to us. And so to answer your question, our main role is to give back purpose to decision makers and make sustainability the most important political decision that everybody has to make fast. I'm talking about politicians, I'm talking about bankers, investors, entrepreneurs. Everybody has to focus on regenerating the environment because without that, there is nothing, and even if we make money with something else, we can't enjoy life because we are breathing gases instead of air, and we are drinking plastics in the water and we are eating toxic food. So what is the sense of making money and then living like that? It's not even logical. But this is our role. I mean, with your platform, my platform, all platforms have to raise awareness and expand consciousness so that public policy decisions are made towards sustainability, investment, finance sustainability, and consumers consume sustainability. When this triangle is locked, then we are in a good shape.
Oh, thank you. Would you please elaborate your 2030 goals or vision to the audience of Global CEO Club?
Well, 2030 is a deadline established by the United Nations General Assembly. It's called Agenda 2030, which basically aims at implementing the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. But, to me, that is an artificial platform, first of all, because the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are very complicated to understand and to communicate. If I ask anybody what is Sustainable Development Goal number 8, nobody knows. It's a very cumbersome communication narrative, which that I disagree with. So I'm simplifying the narrative. 2030 is, it's a reasonable time frame to achieve certain targets. It's not too close, it's not too far. Now, actually, it's becoming very close. We are already in 2026. So that timeline will be certainly moved forward. But it's just an artificial timeline that gives us a certain, framework of action. But once again, as soon as we raise consciousness of all human beings, regardless if they are politicians, investors, or consumers, once we persuade them that they can still make money, they can still win elections, and they can still have a good lifestyle by prioritizing sustainability, then we trigger a systemic paradigm shift that will improve drastically all parameters. That's we have to go to the core of the problem. Not just theories or fragmented actions. We have to go into the mind and into the heart of consumers, first of all, And then when market trends go in towards sustainability, then investors and politicians will just follow, you know. If you think, well, every human being has a huge power as both being a voter and being a consumer. So if we, you know, facilitate 8 billion people on this planet to vote for those politicians who prioritize sustainability and to buy those products that are more sustainable, once this is done, then everything will improve very, very rapidly.
Oh.
I would like to thank you for offering this platform for this interesting conversation. I wish you all the best with your Global CEOs Club, and looking forward for partnering in the future.
Oh, I am very grateful to you, I was very much excited to have a very fruitful conversation with you. Again, I'm very grateful to you, and thank you so much. May Allah bless you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Good luck.